Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute. Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Transmedia Television Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. And with us is Jackie Keller, NutriFit. They deliver meals to celebrities and to regular people here in Los Angeles, have done so for 25 years. Jack is the author of Body After Baby. And Jackie just mentioned in the last segment that, you can get your body back in 60 days, which seems like, you have to be motivated, but if you say so, then I'm sure you certainly know that.
Well, it is a question of motivation, and you keyed into one of the most important things that have to do with health in general, Josh. It is all about motivation, and one of the reasons why celebrities seem to bounce back so quickly after they have children is because they're extremely motivated to do so. I mean, they are under the public scrutiny. People are judging them, essentially, watching them,
yes.
Paying close attention to how they look and how much weight they gained and how quickly they get back into shape. Most of us women don't have husbands that look at us that way, or
no, yes, they do. I would yes, they do. I think they do. Actually,
well,
really.
But we are generally surrounded by a more forgiving population than celebrities.
I'm not sure that's true either, but okay, fine.
So motivation is key.
Mm-hmm.
Motivation is key. Also, not to minimize the importance of going into the pregnancy healthy, going into the pregnancy exercising already and at a healthy weight. So if you go into the pregnancy with 50 pounds extra and then put on another 25 pounds, it's unrealistic to expect that you're going to get back into shape in 30 or 60 days. But if you're fit going into it, you stay fit throughout your pregnancy and you get right back to it with no complications, you're able to get a release from your doctor and go right back to healthy movement and successful eating, you're able to really lose the weight quickly because your body's really adapted to it. Hormonally, that's what our bodies are designed to do.
All right, thank you. That was a very good explanation. That was a very good explanation. And Jackie, where can we contact you? Give me your contact information once again.
We can be reached at NutriFitOnline.com. That's one long website address with no punctuation. It's NutriFit online.com. We have a toll-free number. It's 800-341-4190. Our local number is in the 310 area code. It's 473-1989. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. I have a health blog, and I'm very accessible via email. We're also very happy that we have a storefront facility and people can stop by and see where their food is made. It is right at the corner of Barrington and Gateway in West Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. The street address is 11692 Gateway Boulevard. That's LA 90064. And out of that location, you can purchase our salt and sugar-free spice blends. I've designed 6 salt and sugar-free spice blends that we sell. We sell the bottles, and then we sell refill packets to save on the environment. We're a very, very green company, so we're always looking for ways to minimize our carbon footprint, and offering our spice blend packets in refill bags instead of more bottles is another feature that we like to point out, just as a small example of what we do that is healthy and healthy for the planet. I'm a Climate Reality Project presenter, in fact, giving a discussion tomorrow night that's open to the public and
Climate
free.
Reality, you said? Okay,
on Climate Reality.
It's a very good term. Good for you.
I'm very passionate about the planet that we live on. And just one more note about healthy eating and getting back in shape or getting into the shape that you feel best about. It does mean that you have healthy snacks available. And I want to mention that I have a line of healthy snacks. They're called the High and Mighty Energy Bars and the Mighty Mixes. They're trail mix style snacks, individually foil wrapped and packaged for sale or shipping or putting in your pocket and traveling with on an airplane. So those can be picked up at our location. They can be found on Amazon.com. All of our products are available on Amazon as well. So there's lots of ways to find us.
Very
And
good, very
we
good.
love meeting clients. So if you're in the neighborhood, we hope you'll stop by.
Well, thank you very much. We've been chatting with Jackie Keller, and you're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Television Transmedia Network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Journey Sisters is an organization that embodies and captivates women from all walks of life. Our membership includes 44 women that are constantly growing in the areas of personal development and community involvement. Monthly, we offer free leadership classes at McCade's Restaurant. Journey aims to inform women in the areas of heart disease and HIV and AIDS. Experience the journey now by logging into www.journeymosaicinc.com. Toll free 888-906-5519. Journey with no excuses.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute. Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Transmedia Television Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. And my guest is the editor-in-chief of LA Yoga, Felicia Tomasco. LA Yoga is an excellent publication, comes out monthly, and I read it monthly, and I think to myself, this is nicely done. Every article about yoga or lifestyle or wellness or humor or fashion, I think, man, I'm enjoying reading this magazine. Felicia, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I love the variety of guests you bring on and the very important information that you're transmitting about health and wellness.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, LA Yoga, how long have you been around with that?
11 years.
11 years. Okay, so 11 years ago, things were probably a little quieter, right?
Things were a little quieter. Yeah.
And now yoga deserves to be and is not exactly mainstream, is it? Not quite, but people think, oh my God, the stars do yoga, the athletes do yoga, I like yoga, you kind of see it everywhere. I mean, it's become very popular because I think people find it works.
It does work. And if you think about it, we receive very little information in our lives about simple things that we can do to actually feel better.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
We feel very, and one of the things that I personally love about yoga, and I've been practicing yoga for over 25 years, is that it feels like here's something that can be done anywhere, is easy to do.
Right.
And once you're trained properly to do some poses for yourself, you can actually feel better in as little as 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you're a registered nurse.
I am.
You're an RN. Where'd you
I
go
am.
to school, can I ask?
Oh, yeah. I went to, my nursing degree is from Santa Barbara City College. So I went to nursing school here in California. I first studied environmental biology. That was my first degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I did everything from neuroscience research to plant biochemistry research to a lot of work in herbology and plants as healing foods and plants as medicine. And then nursing was my second degree. So I went to school at Santa Barbara City College and went to school here in California and registered and earned my license here in California.
And so then you approach yoga as a wellness professional.
Absolutely. And I feel that, with my background in nursing, I have that sort of east-west perspective in terms of health and wellness and modern medicine and modern views of our body, combined with the teachings from yoga that give us information about how we live a life of balance and what that means in terms of everything from lifestyle to what we eat to relaxation techniques. And we've also seen in what you just said about, there's been a lot of growth of yoga over the last 11 years. There's also been a lot of medical research that has been done confirming some of the benefits of yoga that have been understood for a long time.
And for my listeners, what are some of the benefits that within the past, say, decade or so, mainstream science has supported?
So some of the things that mainstream science has supported pretty strongly have to do with a lot of the stress-reducing effects that we see from yoga. Everything from lowering blood pressure, lowering heart rate, to things that have to do with some of the impact of chronic disease, which is a huge problem in our society today. Yoga has actually been shown to help improve insulin sensitivity. So people say with diabetes who have trouble, say, utilizing insulin, exercise has been shown to help reduce or help make people more able to use the insulin their body makes. And yoga has even been shown to be even better than just general exercise. That yoga seems to be a little bit more targeted. So those are some of the things we see.
Well, those are big. Those are
huge.
Yeah.
Those are huge. I mean, even if we think about things like blood pressure, or we think about things like sleep, the ability to sleep, we've seen there's documented results in terms of cortisol, which is one of the body's stress hormones, that yoga actually helps to lower the cortisol levels in people. Yoga has been shown to help people sleep better. And we also know from modern science that not sleeping well is implicated in things like being able to maintain a healthy weight, being able for the immune system to work effectively, also related to stress and stress levels. And then in addition, we see biomechanical things like yoga helping with pain relief, low back pain, arthritis, and different kind of joint issues. So we do see it in a lot of different kinds of physiological processes, the improvement from practice of yoga.
And because of all that science supporting these ideas, more and more people try it and they find they do like it, and that actually just helps to make it grow.
Absolutely. And I think because there have been, say, documented research studies in medical journals, it's made medical doctors or physicians more likely to suggest to their patients that they try yoga.
Now, since we broadcast out of Los Angeles, we're in downtown Los Angeles. We're near the airport, exactly, not exactly downtown, but how many yoga schools, you should know this, I guess, how many yoga schools are there in Los Angeles? How many are there?
Los Angeles probably has more yoga schools per capita than anywhere in the world.
Is that so?
I think so. I haven't, it's...
Are there 200 studios?
Oh, there's more.
Oh, really?
And it
more
depends.
Than 200.
Oh, more than 200. And it depends on if you're including just the city of Los Angeles or if you're, say, including the county of Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
But there are definitely more than 200. And there's a lot of standalone yoga studios, some of which are independently owned, some of which are part of larger groups.
Like YogaWorks now, which is very big. Yeah.
YogaWorks is very big. Core Power Yoga is very big. Exhale. But there's also more and more people do yoga at their YMCA, at their
Yes, they
gym,
do.
at their health club. Health clubs like Equinox, which have just opened even in downtown and Encino, have designated yoga teacher training programs, designated yoga rooms. So we're seeing an explosion of yoga continuing, not simply measured by the fact that there's more and more yoga studios, but also that there are more places where yoga is being offered. Yoga is being offered in schools, or you walk by martial arts places and you'll see yoga.
Yes.
You see yoga at libraries, at community centers, at churches. So there's definitely more than 200 yoga studios in Los Angeles, and it's actually a growing number too.
Are there 400?
I think there's more than 400.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
is that it actually it's fun and it's impressive. I think because there's a demand for the idea of yoga. People enjoy. I actually enjoy doing yoga because I just find I feel good doing it. I like the crowd it attracts, and I'm doing Iyengar yoga now, and I've also done Bikram and others, which I've also enjoyed. But now I just seem to enjoy the Iyengar. I love the training of the teachers.
Yeah.
The teachers in Iyengar, from my experience, are so nicely trained and so well trained that you can trust their judgment. If you have a health issue, you think I have a bad back or something, they can tell you the corrective exercises, and they work to help you. And so I gravitate towards them at this point.
Well, and Iyengar, the system is one where they have a very systematic way of training their teachers, and they do mentorships, they do apprenticeships, and also the Iyengar Yoga Center in Los Angeles has been building a yoga therapy program where they're actually directing and focusing with their teachers on working with people who say have had injuries, who have had health issues or so on, so that the instruction that they receive is very targeted. And the thing is, there's so many different styles of yoga because people are attracted to different kinds of experiences.
Yes, that's correct. Right, yes. And LA Yoga, have you become really like the major clearinghouse in the territory? People who are involved with yoga want to know where a studio is. They're looking for a teacher. They're looking to advertise in the publication, or they want you to write about them. They want you to write about their particular spiritual teacher.
Oh yes, we are definitely, or I feel really lucky to say that we have definitely, I think, a key part of this community where we do write a lot about spiritual teachers and yoga teachers and teacher training programs, or where to do yoga, or offer different resources, and also have a lot of information about the lifestyle that supports yoga. People are interested in health and wellness, or how do I find a sense of balance living in the modern world of living in Los Angeles. Something that we're all trying to look for is how do we stay healthy amidst a stressful life.
And your magazine does that, because your magazine does talk about postures.
Yes.
And it talks about fashion.
Yes.
And it talks about a particular guru, a spiritual teacher is in town, and you will do an interview, etc. And I think you do a nice job of balancing that. And also, as you work with the publication, is there a division that you see as a publisher, as a writer, those individuals who are interested in a spiritual teacher, and those individuals interested in yoga, so that they have, a great healthy back?
Well, and the nice thing about yoga, or at least one of the things that I think is great, is that it can be many things to many people. And it is a very large discipline. And for some people, yoga is their spiritual practice. And it is where they find their guru, or their spiritual teacher, their meditation practice, and so on. And some people really just want to, okay, I need my back to work. I need to be able to have some sort of cross-training for everyday life. And some people start out with yoga being one thing to them, and then as they continue it throughout their lifetime, it changes into something else. And the thing is, we're able to kind of have those resources available at studios, or at programs, or at spiritual centers, and so on. And one of the things that we try to do with LA Yoga is offer different things to different people, because we all do have an attraction. Some people really want the spiritual teachings, or the more subtle, or the the what meditation teacher is in town. And some people want to know, well, what is the newest fashion? Or some people want to know, how do I keep myself fit? And all of those have value.
And do you see, since you've been involved with obviously yoga before you got involved with this publication, do you see a change from, say, in the 60s and 70s when teachers came over from India largely, and they were gurus, they were teachers, that when the gurus are around now, that they are treated differently, that there's less putting them on a pedestal, that there's more seeing them as teachers, as almost as philosophers, as educators, rather than as someone who is almost worshipped, or in some cases might have been worshipped? Do you see a big difference now?
That's a good question, because I think there's always a tendency that we have to want to put people on a pedestal, and there's always been over time people who sort of live up to that and people who do not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you look at the spiritual teachers, say from India, who have come over and brought some of these teachings to this country, there's a wide range of different I don't want to say levels, but
levels is fair.
Yeah.
You're fair because you're not slamming anyone,
No.
people, and you have a
Yeah.
right to say that. You have a right to say that.
Yeah, and I think whether we talk about 100 years ago or 50 years ago or the 1960s or today, there's still some measure of that. There are some people that really are operating at that kind of higher,
Yes.
and there are some people who maybe are philosophers and teachers, and there's value to all of it.
Yes.
And we also think about the fact that when yoga was, say, popularized in the 1960s, some people were doing it because they wanted to be fit.
Right.
So there was the place for all of it, sort of at all of these different times in history.
And where do you see LA yoga going, and where in general do you see yoga going?
Well, here's one of the things that I think is interesting where I see yoga going, because sort of to speak on one of your other questions, because sometimes people say, oh, well, now people don't care about the spiritual component of yoga. It's just about being fit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, as I mentioned, throughout history, there's always been people who cared about being fit, and there's always people who cared about the spiritual aspects of yoga.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've noticed over time is definitely more people are doing yoga now. And I think more people are doing yoga now than at any other time in history in the past thousands of years. And
I think so, yes. Mhm.
yeah, and there's a great benefit to that, because here's a self-empowering practice that allows us to feel better and allows us to spend time with other people, like you mentioned, enjoying the other people that you go to yoga class with.
Right.
Spending time with other people in a positive way. I mean, some of my best friends I've met through yoga, or we go to yoga together, and there's a sense of being in a room where there's a sense or experience of mutual support, where people are there to support you.
And a sense of community to some extent.
And a sense
Yes.
of community
Right.
to some extent. And I think that that's something that is increasing over time, that people see their yoga studio or their class at the YMCA that is their favorite class, or their teacher's home that they go to, or wherever they do yoga, as some aspect of community. And I think that's been a trend that's increasing, that will continue to increase. And that's something that in LA Yoga, as a magazine, we try to respond to, is to help cultivate that sense of community and look at ways that we can increase that. Because I think it is something that, in terms of health and wellness, we do need those personal connections or those senses of community.
Yes, and I think when we have them, we are much happier. We're much healthier people when we have a sense of community. Isolation, I think we recognize, is a bad thing.
Right.
It's a bad thing.
It is a bad thing. And I think, people are, it's kind of like dogs are pack animals, right? They want to
Yeah.
be with the other members of their pack.
And we humans are social.
We are social. And as much as, we spend time online, or as much as we're commuting in our cars, or all of these things, we also need that social component, and we need it to be in a positive way.
I think so too. Now let me ask you about fashion, about yoga fashion, because it seems to me that yoga fashion is taken very seriously in the fashion world and on the streets, because recently a company, I won't mention the name, got popped again for selling yoga pants that women like to wear because they give nice shape to the buttocks, right? That's great. That's fashion's
great. We like that.
But we see. But there was a comment. Oh God, they break, those pants break. They're not carefully, and that made national news. And I watched the way that was handled in national news, and to some extent, people thought pants that give shape to a woman's butt. Okay, there was a little joke, and it seems fair as a little joke. But also there was discussion of, oh no, a lot of women, like these yoga outfits and wear them, and this company does big business, and this company influences the way women and men think of fashion.
Oh, it's fascinating to me that when we think about the things that have changed in yoga over the past 10 years or 10 plus years, fashion is absolutely one of them.
Yes.
And you look at major fashion lines also creating a yoga series, or major fashion designers will create yoga lines. And aside from, there are companies that have become multi-million-dollar companies
Yes.
off of just doing athletic or just doing
Right.
yoga fashion and selling this lifestyle, because I think it is also part of the lifestyle for wellness.
Yes.
You know, or
yes,
how we
exactly. Yes.
view what it means to be healthy or to be vital or to be vibrant or to feel good in what you're working out in. I mean, I remember when I first started doing yoga 25 years ago, there was no designated yoga clothing.
That's right. That's right. There really was not.
There was not.
No.
So it's something that's changed.
People wear Danskins. Didn't women wear Danskins
Yes.
years ago?
You
Is
were-
Danskin still around?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Danskin is still around, and they do a special yoga line.
Oh, they do.
Yes. So, I mean, I think everybody does a yoga line. Calvin Klein does a yoga line. Adidas does a yoga line. You know, major athletic companies do yoga lines, but Stella McCartney does a yoga line for Adidas.
Oh, she does?
Yes.
Oh, I see. I did not know. I
Mhm.
did not know.
So-
Well, fashion does seem very fair, and it's really kind of lighthearted to some extent.
Yes.
And I'm really happy to see that yoga has influenced fashion. And I go into some of those yoga shops around LA, you know, and I look at them and I think, gee, these are busy, and people are buzzing around buying stuff, and you know, it is kind of fun. It is
It
fun.
is kind of fun. And there's some, I think, positive influence too, where there's concerns about sustainability of fabrics, organic cotton, what are different kinds of fabrics that can be used. There's companies who actually manufacture here in Los Angeles. There's several different family-owned companies that are big name companies that do organic clothing or do clothing made in the USA, or
Right.
you know, that maybe they aren't getting as much national news, but they do serve a really important function in terms of community building and supporting people in the US or in Los Angeles.
No, absolutely. Where do I get copies of LA Yoga? How do I get copies?
Oh, you can get copies in so many different places. So in all of the major and minor and neighborhood yoga studios around Los Angeles.
Right.
But our distribution isn't limited to Los Angeles. We have a full distribution network in Orange County, in the desert, in Inland Empire, in the Valley, in up into Ojai and Santa Barbara. So we distribute free throughout Southern California in libraries, health food stores, bookstores, doctors' offices, yoga studios, health clubs, hotels, a pretty wide range of places. You can also find us online, layoga.com. We also have a digital edition of the magazine where you can flip the pages
really?
just like
Oh,
you're
good
reading the
for you.
magazine.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and we have an iPhone, iPad, Android app.
Uh-huh.
So you can, you know, get our app and read us in that way as well. So we
That's
have a
very
lot
modern, isn't it?
It is very
Very good.
modern. Yes, you know, yoga in the modern world, all the different ways we receive it. We have an email newsletter we send out every Thursday, where you can subscribe at layoga.com or layogaonline.com and subscribe to our email newsletter. We talk a lot about different events going on. We have a recipe every week. We have different kinds of suggestions for ways that people can incorporate yoga in their life.
Well, Felicia Tomasco, Editor-in-Chief of LA Yoga, thank you for being a guest today on Here's to Your Health. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for doing this great program, and enjoy your yoga practice.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was fun. You've been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Transmedia Television Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We'll be back next week. Thank you for tuning in.
For more information about the guests and sponsors of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, please call us at 818-707-0005.